So I'm joined with wrestling champion, Bobby Lashley. So talk about you coming out here supporting this great event.
Well, you know what? I just got out here, so I just been watching what was going on, and then I heard about the whole concept. I think it's incredible. Hopefully, they have their football, they have MLB, they have NBA. They need to have wrestling and fighting. That's the next step. So I'm going to be hopefully part of the fighters or the wrestlers when they do have that.
Awesome, that's fantastic. So get the wrestlers out here, and how often do you play golf?
Not as much as I want to. My dad's a big golfer. I play every once in a while with my kids. We go out there play every once in a while, but my game is a little rusty, so I'm gonna have to tighten it up before I start playing.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you are a wrestler and MMA fighter. Talk about the difference between the two.
For me, it's all about the training. I always talk about the journey. So the journey is the same. I always train hard. I train often. So I stay ready for whatever I need to be ready for. I like fighting. I love wrestling. I think that the way that I train, I can be ready for either one. So the difference, I think, is, of course, pro wrestling is more on the show, but ultimately, sports across the board is show. I mean, no matter what it is. We all look at it as sports, but it's all about the show. Like, the owners want to see people in the stands, and that's the same thing we want to do with pro wrestling. But when I fight, I focus more on just the fight, and I leave all that other stuff out the door. I let the other guys do the talking. But when it goes to pro wrestling, of course, you do it more for the crowd.
And speaking of wrestling or MMA fighters, are there any wrestlers or MMA fighters that you look up to?
Myself. No. I mean, I'm still in the game, so I can't say I look up to very many people. There's all kinds of pioneers from the sport, from fighting and wrestling and pro wrestling. So, I mean, there's a lot of guys that I love to watch. And fighting right now, since I'm out of the fighting world, I mean, there's so many great fighters in there. I can't pick one. I mean, Tapora looks good. John Jones is always a legend. Cormier is retired, but he's a good friend of mine. He's been just a pioneer of the sport, and he's still on doing commentating for the sport. So there's so many guys in there right now that I really look up to. Not really look up to, but I have respect for.
Titus O'Neil, Thaddeus Billard.
Oh, yes. Titus is Titus here?
No, but I see him a lot in Tampa.
Yeah,
Tampa.
Thaddeus, man, he is an incredible person. Like, first I met him as just a friend, but then I had a time to just drive around, and we were on the road in WWE for a little while. We rode together, and I actually really started to see the man of Titus, and what he's doing out in Tampa is just incredible. One year, me and my kids, we went out and we did his toy drive, and we were thinking, just come out, let's do something different. We don't need to have a bunch of presents under the tree. If you guys want something, we get some throughout the year. Let's go help somebody else out. And we went down to Tampa and we saw what Titus did, and it was mind-blowing. What he's doing with Tampa, I mean, he's changing that whole city around. I mean, the mayor herself said, when Titus calls, she answers, so that's the kind of the power that he has, and he always says this worldwide, and that's his whole thing. And I mean, we were on the road, it didn't matter where we were, he knew someone at a very high level, and I mean, we got everything we wanted when we were on the road. And I was like, you know what, Titus, it's not that you're so connected, it's that you're a great person. And I would always have great things to say about Titus.
That's awesome. And you served our country. Talk about that. A lot of people miss that, but yes, you're a U.S. Army.
Yes, I wrestled for the Army world-class athlete program. I went in after college. It was one of those things where I wrestled all the way through college, and I got out and worked a regular job, and then I was like, you know what, let's get back to wrestling, but let's get back to serving also. My dad was in the military for 26 years, so and I have uncles that were in the Marines, Navy, everything. So my whole family was in the military. My sister was in the Army for 8 years. I had another sister that just retired from the Air Force. So my whole family has that deep military roots. So I figured I'd just follow in steps. So I served 3 years in. Fortunately, I was on this program called the World Class Athlete Program, so I was able to wrestle for the Army team. But I went in as the 11 Bravo Infantry, and then went through basic training, and after there, I wrestled for the next 3 years, which was a blessing in itself.
That's awesome. So if we get the wrestlers in, will you help us get some of your friends to come on down?
Man, I can get all of them. I know the guys that can play. I know the guys that can play good. So when you're ready to start bringing those in, I think it's kind of a mix because I know MMA and wrestlers is still kind of that combat area. So I think if you brought guys from both areas and put them together and then ran with it, I think you would have a huge following.
That's awesome. Bobby Lashley wants you to come on down with Wrestling and MMA. There you go. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Always a pleasure. Yeah.